Hey everyone, welcome to my tutorial for the Sonic Triple Trouble Tail speedrun. I think this is a really cool run, but not a lot of people run this, so I'm hoping I can maybe motivate some more people to give this a shot. This run is mostly movement based and glitchless, with the exception of maybe 2.5 spots, but there's a lot of minor details to the movement that aren't immediately obvious. I find this game much more enjoyable as Tails, not only because it's easier, but also because he gets rid of some of the major annoyances this game otherwise has. The way this is going to work, I have the video of my current personal best of 2045 right here, which is the world record at the time of recording this. It's largely a very clean run and should work well as demonstration. I'll just be going through the run and explain what I do, why I do it, and what possible alternatives there might be. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see my inputs right here. If you want to practice individual levels, this game has a level select you can access by holding up during the game's boot sequence, and then in the cutscene where Knuckles selects the Chaos Emeralds, you press start the moment the third emerald is picked up. The timing is a bit tight, so you might need some tries to get it right. I'd recommend making a save on the level select so you always have quick access to any level. Before I actually start going through the run, I would highly recommend to not start learning this game on the first level. Great Turquoise is easily the most difficult stage to get the route perfectly right, and I would recommend learning literally any other level first, particularly all of the Act 1s, like Sunset Park, Meta Junglira, or Robotnik Winter. So now let's get into it and let's start the run. So first most important step to run Tails is of course to select Tails here, and we immediately get into the first stage, Great Turquoise. So the first thing you gotta know about this game, this is very different from the 16-bit Sonic games, if you know those. There is never a reason in this game to mash or hold down the spin dash button for any amount of time. You can literally just do a single tap spin dash and immediately release, and it puts you at top speed. Just quick A input and release right here, boom. Or actually B, it doesn't matter, it's the same button. You see me here doing B, just hold down B and immediately you're going at max speed. You do not need to do anything with spin dashing in this game. So that's the first important part to know. So now that we have that out of the way, first thing you want to do in this level is you spin dash to the right, of course, and then you see this bit of the mountain here. And then once you hit it, maybe tiny bit behind, you want to do a full jump. And that sends you all the way into this item box right here, which is a spring. The spring attaches to Tails, and the moment it attaches, you want to jump again. So you get a nice high jump, and you immediately hit this spring right here in the tree. This is going to launch you up, and as you approach like the peak of the jump, you want to press the jump button again, so Tails goes in ball form. This is also very important to know for this game, as going in and out of ball form mid-air changes the jump trajectory and changes how you are able to control him in the air. So you definitely want to get a feel for how you approach the air movement here with the different movement states. So jump, jump, roll. And now as you see Tails is peaking here in the jump, as you dip down again, just after dipping down, you want to press up and press the jump button again and start a flight like this. You're going to bump slightly into the top screen border, and ideally you hit this bumper right here. Sometimes, depending on how you time it, you might hit this one or this one. Those are all fine, but you have to learn after a while to adapt to the different trajectories to get out of these. So there's just a bit of trial and error you're gonna have to do in order to get good at this, to get a feel of this. I can't really give you like a universal answer to make this work. But if everything goes right, you dip down from the flight and hit this. And then you want to immediately, because there's this enemy right here, you want to immediately press B again, or A again, A or B, doesn't matter. And you go into ball form again. This has, again, the advantage that you go a little bit higher and you also are able to deal damage to this enemy right here. Then as you come down from the roll, before you land on the ground here, you want to start a flight. And if your flight trajectory is correct, if your jump trajectory and flight trajectory are correct, what will happen is you will start a flight, you hit the top of the screen here again, and so there's actually my first mistake here this run. I was a bit too far with my trajectory, so I overshot this thing right here. Ideally, you want to hit this, and this sends you a perfect angle towards the next part of the level. However, I missed it right here, so my flight goes here and lands on this piece of grass. So what you can do right here is you just hold down, and immediately as you land, you jump, and you will, if you do the correct height of jump, you hit this item box from the side and you immediately break through. If you take it safe and you do a full jump, you just land on top, and then you can start a spin dash here and continue. But if you do a short hop, you hit this from the side and you just immediately break through. What I said before, if you hit this spring right here, you can get a bounce. And then once you're about here, you want to again roll in the air, and that puts you on a pretty perfect trajectory to, without ever touching the ground and losing any speed, to just come down right here and hit this box from the side. But as soon as you make it here, it's all even again, so either you come here with a lot of momentum and you break through immediately, or you just land here, destroy the box, and start a new spin dash, and you can continue. So once you go in here, another thing you gotta know about this game is if you jump into ceilings, you gain speed. So what you want to do here, there's a lot of lag here, so a lot of jump inputs will be eaten if you do this. But while you go through the tunnel, you just mash the jump button to see if you get 1, 2, or maybe even 3 jumps in here. You want to be sure to stop mashing though before the end of the tunnel, because if you hit A too late and you jump like here or something, you will over jump these speed shoes here. So you want to make sure to stop jumping by the end of this, so that you roll through these speed shoes. And as soon as you break them, you do once again a full jump. That lands you here. And as soon as you land, you continue rolling, and then you try jumping off of this. This is one that likes to get eaten a lot of times, and you can mistime this quite easily. If you do, that's no big deal, because then you just see here, but this mountain right here, there's stairs down here, so you just jump up, and it's no big deal. But if you get a full jump off of this here with a good amount of speed, you will land on this item box. Again, you come out of the jump, so you're in ball form, so you destroy the enemy. Again, it varies slightly depending on your speed and your jump timing, where exactly you land. Sometimes you get unlucky and you land on this one and then bounce up into the enemy and get hit. But ideally, most of the time, you destroy this enemy and bounce on the second one. And you don't just keep holding right. And then there's another situation here where different things can happen depending on what exactly your jump timing is and such. This works out pretty ideally here. So we're gonna see the ideal scenario right here. I land on this spring right here. I just keep flying, not pressing anything. But as soon as I come over the mountain here and approach this item box, I want to once again press B, so the item box is destroyed. And then before the slope starts, I do once again a full jump. It's very important to avoid touching the slope, because these 45-degree slopes in this game are really weird and they instantly kill your speed. So you want to make sure you jump before touching this. Going again to the previous section here, because I said there's a couple of different things that can happen here in this section right here. So sometimes you bounce on this enemy, or you get a really low bounce and you hit some trees that are down here. There's a couple things that can happen here. Most of the time, the ideal alternative scenario is that you get a bounce here, which is going to send you on a lower trajectory than what you see here, which means you fall down here. You don't make it up here and you just fall straight down. In which case, that is a pretty good situation, because once you're down there, you just spin dash jump to the right and you're at the end of the level as well. Loses like 1 or 2 seconds from just falling straight down without going forward, but it's, if you're just learning the run, this is neglectable time loss. This doesn't matter. That's still a good, great Turquoise one, so don't worry about it. But yeah, let's go back. So Again here, rolling in the air to hit this thing. And then you do a full jump here. The goal now is to jump directly into the ending. However, around the signpost, there's a lot of these palm trees with the springs inside. And you want to maneuver around them because bouncing on them wastes a lot of valuable time. And there's a visual, this is a bit tricky to do, but there's a visual cue I figured out. So if you do the full jump here, and then you come down from the jump and you see me pass this cloud right here. And as soon as I pass this cloud, I hold left. So doop, and I hold left. And then you see me just go right in between these two palm trees, and then right here is the signpost. So let's show it once more in motion. Like this, and hold left, and go into the signpost. So now, one more thing to know about the signposts. Actually, two more things to know about the signposts. So first, when you hit them, they kind of fly up and spin. And the best way to end the level is to charge a spin dash during this time. And as soon as it lands, release the spin dash so that you shoot out on the right side of the screen a bit faster, because otherwise Tails kind of walks off kind of slowly. So like this, and as soon as it lands, you release and you go out pretty quickly. Another thing is right here I get the Sonic icon on the signpost, but you can get a signpost where it just shows the back of the sign and you have to hit it again. We're gonna see this a couple times during the run. I got screwed over quite a few times during my PB like this. So you want to make sure to not release the spin dash too early. Ideally, you want to stand where, this is sometimes depending on the ending of the level. Sometimes you go over with a lot of momentum and it's kind of hard to place yourself where the signpost was. But ideally, you want to place yourself at the position of the signpost and then wait for it until it touches the ground before you release, because if you then get the troll sign, you will hit it again immediately and you won't lose a lot of time. If you release too early and you don't hit it and you get a troll sign, you just go to the right side of the screen and then you have to go back and hit it again, and that's just very sad when that happens. Happens a couple times this run, so you're gonna see me screw that up a couple times, but that's something to keep in mind. If you run this, there's certain levels where you're gonna notice you're very likely to get a troll sign, so you're more prepared for it, and other levels where it's a bit more of a surprise when it happens, where it can catch you off guard. Also, again, it depends on how you approach the signpost. Sometimes it's very hard to set yourself up like this, and sometimes it's very easy. This is all something you'll notice over time, but yeah, just something to keep in mind. And yeah, that's the first level. And once again, this is the hardest level to learn. A lot of stuff happened here. If you don't get it, don't worry about it. I would recommend, if you want to hop into doing runs of this game, just ignore the idea. Oh, maybe not ignore. You should probably like try to go for the route, because like you don't lose anything by trying. There's like not a really good easy route that you can do alternatively. So you should know what it looks like, but if you don't get it, just continue on and improvise the rest of the route. There's unfortunately, this level is a giant pinball table, and I can't unfortunately give you good advice on how to, deal with every situation, but just keep in mind how this level is supposed to look, and if you don't get it, just move on. Alright, so now we're in Act 2. Act 2 is, once again, a bit of a can of worms. So getting the optimal route in this level is, I think, the hardest thing in this entire game. So if you do everything perfectly, you can get a 17. But I find that incredibly difficult. This took me a long time to grind out for the IL. And I don't go for it in runs in order to be able to get runs going. So the strat I do gets me comfortably a 20, which loses 3 seconds, but it's relatively consistent. So this is what I'm going to be doing here. Once again, at the beginning, just do a single tap spin dash to the right. And as soon as you hit the slope, you're going to notice it's going to break your speed a little bit. So be prepared for that. But as soon as you're on the slope, you do a short jump, just a little hop, and that should send you right into this item box, which gets Tails into kind of like a scripted flight, more or less. You can only go up and down with this, and you automatically keep going to the right. So with this flight box, you already automatically skip like the first third of the level. You get that out of the way. So all you have to do once you hit this is get the correct height, and the correct height is, You go up, you go up, you go up. And then, yeah, you go past this cloud, and there's this layer of clouds. So the clouds are always like in layers, and there's this layer of clouds. And there's gonna be another layer appearing in between, and you wanna line yourself up with that. So up, first layer of clouds, gone to the second layer, and you see this is the layer of clouds you should line yourself. Like Tails' feet should be about here. I seem to have done like a rogue up input here, so I go a little bit up, but I immediately try to correct myself again onto the side. So yeah, I go back down. Yeah, you see, I'm a bit high here, so you want to ideally arrive here at about this height. But yeah, once you land here, you want to hold down right, which ensures you keep as much momentum as possible, and then you jump at the end of this platform. Just a nice full jump, and that sends you to the right corner of this thing. Once again, you keep holding B, and then you hit this thing. You bounce once again, not pressing anything yet, but you're holding up. And as soon as you go past this cloud, you can start a flight. If you start the flight too early, you're probably not going to make it to the next section, because you're going to hit the top of the screen and you're going to lose height too quickly. But if you delay the flight a little bit past this cloud, you're going to go up, get a nice chunky amount of height, and then you easily make it up here. So once you're here, once again, hold down right and jump before this 45-degree slope. Again, a full jump, just keep holding the jump button, and you're gonna bounce on this item box. If you don't, just go up here and then do a full spin dash jump to the right, and that'll work itself out. But if you don't, you're gonna bounce. You're gonna bounce here. Just keep holding right, and you're gonna land here. This is gonna stop you. Just do a little hop up here, charge a spin dash, and jump off of this item box here. And that's gonna put you right onto this. Be prepared for landing here, because you want to do a short jump immediately when you land here. And that's gonna make you hit this spring that is in this thing here. And now once again we have the same situation as at the end of Act 1. So from here on you can jump directly to the goal, but you have to maneuver in between the palm trees. So here the way you do it is you just hold right, and then as soon as you go past this layer of clouds, you release the direction for like half a second to a second. And that slows you down enough to go in between all those trees right here. Depending on if you release too much, you might hit this spring. If you release too little, you might hit this one right here and you overshoot it. So you're gonna have to feel this out a little bit, but basically, yeah, this is my visual cue. Just hold right until you hit this cloud, and then release for a short moment, and you're just gonna go straight through all of this and hit the signpost. Overshot it a little bit here, but yeah. And once again, charging the spin dash out of the screen, and that's the level. Once again in motion. Just like that. Also, another thing, really quick, if you have it like kind of like a different, if this middle section of the level kind of goes differently, and you don't get this jump right, and you don't make it up here, and you fall down, that's also perfectly fine. There's like a little hill down there, and it goes straight to the end as well. So once again, just do like a spin dash jump to the right, and you make it to the end. So now we're in GT3, which is the first boss. They always have like a really short bit of stage before the actual boss, but it's almost neglectable. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. So once again, just spin dash to the right, and then you just want to jump. My visual cue for this is, you see there's a singular palm tree here, then you go forward, there's two palm trees that are close together, and then two more singular, and here's another two ones close together. I jump at the second double set of palm trees. I just do a full jump. And that just lands me on top of the blocks here. You break through, you start another spin dash here to the right. Sometimes, I don't really know what it depends on, it seems to be random from what I can tell, you hit this piece of collision here, which is annoying, and you just drop straight down, loses like a second or so. Ideally you don't though, and just go past here. Before you hit the water, press the jump button, which makes Tails roll, and then bounce on the water, which is a bit faster. And here in the boss arena. Line yourself up with these pillars, and the boss will come in here. I would recommend staying at this pillar right here, and then hitting the boss as soon as he's over you. There's no point being like on the very right side of the screen, because before he makes it to like this point, he's invincible. So if you just jump into him too early, you're just gonna waste time. So just stand here and just wait until he's above you. Jump into him 4 times, just like that. And as soon as you get the 4th hit and drop back into the water, don't even wait for anything, just immediately spin dash jump to the right. And you're gonna land on this spring enemy that comes into the screen here. Gonna launch you up, stand about here. Wait a little bit, wait for until you see this spring enemy come in here. You can anticipate when he's coming in, but usually that's also counterproductive, because you jump on him and then you bounce into the boss. And if you jump into him like the first moment he appears on screen, like if you anticipate him coming in, the boss is probably not above you yet, and you just go flying, and you'll probably fall back down, land on the boss, and die. So you don't want to do that. So just wait until you see the spring guy appear, and then just jump onto him. And as soon as you bounce up, just press the jump button again in the air, so that you hit the boss. And yeah, just repeat that. Just once you bounce up, just hit the jump button, and yeah, you do that 4 times, hit the boss, and that's it. So just like that, boom, 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 4. And for the 4th hit, you want to make sure to land next to this guy, and then just you can spin dash to him. You can. It's not a big deal if you don't, but if you drop back down and land on the spring guy while the boss explodes and you get launched all the way up, that creates a lot of extra lag, and you can save like about, I want to say, half a second to a second by just avoiding that. So yeah, just get back to the ground after the 4th hit as quickly as possible, and then just go to the right screen border and wait for the cutscene to start. And that is the first zone, Great Turquoise. Once again, this is the hardest one to get perfectly right, so don't worry about it. It's just gonna get easier from now on. Alright, so Sunset Park is a fun one. Pretty straightforward, especially Act 1. Unfortunately, this level is, you're a bit at the mercy of the game's lagginess, that it reads all the important jump inputs. But just in terms of strats, this is a pretty simple one to get down. So at the beginning, you just saw him go off the screen there. There's this enemy that goes back and forth. So at the beginning, just do a short spin dash jump, and you have a lot of air control, so use that to immediately kill your momentum and land behind him. And then once you're here, you can immediately start another spin dash to go off to the right. If you're a bit uncomfortable with that, you can also just overjump this a little, roll down the slope, and then set up down here and start a spin dash to the right. Doesn't matter, but it's faster if you do it on top. Yeah, and you just roll down. You want to hold down right. This preserves the most momentum. And then there's the second slope here, which launches you. Now here, to make this more consistent, as soon as you go into the air, you want to briefly release all the directions, because that's going to make this a bit easier. So as soon as you land here, you want to do a full jump. And if you just keep holding down right the whole time, you're just a lot closer to the spring, and that's going to make it a lot harder to jump over this. But if you release in the air, most of the time it's fine. So the important thing is to keep holding down right, and also to do a full jump here, and then keep holding the jump button. And that's gonna allow you to preserve a lot of momentum. So first of all, you're gonna just bounce on this enemy, and if you just keep holding down right, you just carry this momentum all the way to here. Here, you want to do a full jump towards the end of this bit of platform here. If you don't, there's not much that's going to happen. The only reason we do the jump here is for lag prevention, because if you just roll down here, you see this bridge right here. This is all these tiles, when you go over them, explode. And if you just roll the whole section here, you're just gonna get a lot more extra explosions, which cause a lot of lag. So if you just jump here, you hit this top bit here and bounce back down, you just avoid a lot of the lag. Now again, you still have a lot of momentum. Keep holding down right. Now here, this is the part where you're a bit of at the mercy of the game's lag, which is also important to avoid these right here, because you don't want to overdo it. So you see these windmills here on the side. So you can use these as visual cue. I like to use the one in the middle, the third one. And once I hit this, I do once again a full jump. And that sends me all the way, kills this enemy right here. And I land about here. If you jump too early or too late here, what can happen is that you bounce off the bottom of this enemy, and that sends you directly onto this block, and this block also bounces you off, and you have so much momentum that you can't really control there. Your controls are kind of locked, and you just fall down here, and you don't want that. So you want to make sure to jump over this, so do make sure to take this as a visual cue for the jump. A lot of times, though, the game just straight up eats your jump input here. So if that happens, you're going to hit this spring. Sometimes if you try to jump immediately after hitting this, you do hit this enemy and he stops you and you can try again. A lot of times, though, it doesn't. So you just get bounced back here, back onto the bridge. It's going to explode and you're going to fall down. That's perfectly fine if you fall down. There's a bottom section here that you can just go to the right. And then there's a spring there that comes out right here, so you get back here. So if you fall down there, don't worry about it. If you have to start a spin dash here again, just line yourself up on this part here and do a full spin dash jump to the right. But if you keep all your momentum from the previous level like this, just keep going, just jump, just keep going, full jump again, and you're making it onto this loop. If you do fall down here, unfortunately, this bottom route here that this loop is a part of is really bad. So you're just gonna have to stand down here and then fly back up and just land up here. That's not really a good way around it. But yeah, if you take the previous section safe, you should make it up here pretty safely. Once you land up here, just, sometimes you come here with a lot of momentum and you can get a jump immediately here without even losing speed there. And you directly make it up there, but that's very rare. Yeah, whatever. Once you're up here, just do whatever it takes to get onto this platform. Doesn't really matter all that much. You can bounce on this and make it directly up, but you don't have to. You can also just go here and jump back up. Regardless, once you're up here, you gotta stop and start a new spin dash, because by now the previous momentum has run out. So you gotta get more momentum and you start a new spin dash. So you just roll to the right. And then once you hit this thing again, you do once again a full jump. I did that wrong here. So my ending here is a little bit improvised. But ideally you want to do a full jump here. And what that does is you land just about here. And then you can just roll here and use this thing again as a cue to do a full jump off of here. So just keep rolling, and yeah, if you do this previous jump that I missed here, did I even miss it? Or yeah, look, I pressed the jump button and it just didn't read my input, so that can happen. But yeah, if you do get this jump, once again, just keep holding down right, keep rolling, and just jump at the right time. You're gonna land here just at the end of the slope. You're just gonna keep rolling, and you jump at the third windmill. And by this point, you've lost a little bit of speed. I jump a little bit earlier because of my previous jump. I have more speed here, which screws with my setup. So I adjust and jump earlier, but ideally you should jump here if everything previously went well. And that's gonna perfectly put you on top of the spring. So you just want to keep holding right. And as soon as you hit the top screen border, you press the jump button again, which is gonna roll. And that causes you to drop down perfectly into the signpost here. And you see it here. Yeah, I got a troll sign, but because I had a good lineup with releasing the spin dash, I hit it again by the time I spin dash to the right, so I did not lose a lot of time. Sunset Park 2, I think, is one of the most satisfying levels once you get a decent feel for the movement. It's not super fast-paced, but it has a really nice flow to it, but it is a bit tricky, so it takes some time getting used to. But I think this is a really fun level once you get it down. So it starts out with a bit of an auto-scroller, just really short. Tells in this little cart. As soon as it explodes, you bounce up here. You want to curve a little bit to the right, so you get more space to accelerate going to the left. And then, yeah, I just kind of briefly hold right and then go left immediately. You can roll in the air here to reduce airtime a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. And then you run, and then you see these pillars on the end here. You're about safe, like between, like in the middle of these pillars right here. After the second one, you can turn around and do a full jump. So show you again on movement. Boop. And just jump, full jump. It's gonna put you up here. As soon as you land, you wanna roll, and then do a full jump on the second windmill. That's gonna put you like on the top of the slope. So once again, you just keep holding down right to keep your momentum. And as soon as you're on flat ground here, before the bridge, which once again, this explodes, so causes extra lag. So you want to avoid that. As soon as you're on this thing, you want to, again, do a short hop. I just do I do a really short jump here. Just boop, just like that. And it's gonna land you on this slope. So this jump is a little bit awkward at first, because you gotta get a lot of height to just make it over the spring. And this is a red spring. This really launches you far. So you really want to avoid this. As you land up here, you do want to do a full jump, but then also release your direction so that you don't go as far to the right and just delay a little bit so you have more time to gain height. You go over this. Ideally, you just land perfectly up here. As soon as you have the height, you can hold right again to keep your momentum. And then at the point of this thing, you want to once again do a jump, a full jump at first. But we have to do something a bit tricky here, and that is land on this thing right here. So what you want to do is basically, yeah, do a full jump, but as soon as you're crossing this guy, you just briefly tap to the left. And that's going to adjust your speed enough to be able to hit this spring. That's going to launch you, and as you hit the rings, you want to go into ball form by pressing the jump button. And then you start a flight as soon as possible, which is going to carry a lot of momentum all the way over here. And as soon as you land here, sometimes you land a bit earlier depending on how the flight went. Sometimes you land a bit later, but as soon as you land, basically you want to do a full jump. And then once again, you want to release a little bit so you don't go all the way shooting off to the right. And you want to drop straight down here, just like slightly above this enemy. And you want to hit this exploding bridge here. And whenever I drop down here, I always mash the jump button so that as soon as I land, I do a jump. So like this, boop, jump. And yeah, just a short jump. If you don't get a jump here immediately, you're gonna get hit with the explosion, which is fine, loses like a second or so, but no big deal. But yeah, if you avoid it, just drop down straight here, and then from here on, you start a new spin dash, and as you hit the flat part, you do a full jump. And now here, this is pretty important for this end section, you want to hold down right. Once you land here, I'm just holding right here. I should be holding down right, so this is lucky that this worked. I guess maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Those inputs are weird. I guess. Yeah, I'm still holding down right here, so I guess it registers that as the input for this. But yeah, you want to basically be holding down right once you land on here. so that you roll off of this thing. And then you're going to immediately land on this platform. And as soon as you land on this, you want to hold upright, which means that you still go right, but you avoid rolling. So by holding upright, you can be sure to run off this ledge without being in ball form. And what this does here is it allows you to start a flight mid-air. So as soon as you go off, you can start a flight, and you're going to make it over here. Here you can do one small ceiling jump once you land, and that's going to land you in the end of the level. Once more in motion. So drop down here, spin dash, full jump, roll, run, fly, boop, and ending. That's it. Gets you a 25. This level is also very notorious for troll signs. So here you want to be extra cautious to stand in the sign to make sure you don't do what I did here and have to waste some time to react to hitting the sign again. So yeah, that's some time loss on my end here. And here you don't even have to spin dash out to the right side. You can literally just stand here because this level transitions directly into Act 3 without any result screen or anything. So the sign drops down. I personally like the split here as soon as the sign disappears on the bottom of the screen. And from here on, it's basically an auto-scroller. So the only thing you have to do here is just hold right. And whenever anything happens, you just jump. Enemy, jump. Enemy, jump. Enemy, jump. Enemy, jump. Enemy, jump. Hold, jump. Hold, jump. So you get the idea. You do that until the end. Takes about a minute, and as soon as you make it to the boss, so you're just gonna keep holding right. As soon as you approach this, I like to somewhere here on this large tile, do a full jump and then just keep mashing A as you land. And if you just keep mashing A here, Tails is gonna get a hit immediately on this guy. And he's gonna bounce back. And as you bounce back, you just release your direction. So release and drop. You wanna drop down to the left side of the screen. As soon as they hit the left side of the screen is gonna move back to the right. And as soon as that happens, you hold right again and jump immediately. And then once again, you just jump again and you're gonna hit him again. And you're just gonna repeat that 4 times and then the boss dies. Jump, mash, bounce, release, jump, release, jump, jump, release, jump, jump, release, and that's it. So Meta Junglira is a bit infamous because it has all these bouncy balls that bounce you all over the place, similarly to Grey Turquoise, but luckily, unlike Turquoise, there's a good way to deal with all of these here. And especially Act 1 is very consistent if you know what to do. So first thing you want to do, there's this platform here with the springs. So you want to avoid these like the plague. These are the worst things ever. So just immediately once you're here, just spin dash and do a full jump over this. Just boom, just go over this. Just ignore all of it. Just bam, full jump, boop. And you're gonna hit this wall here and you're gonna drop down. You're gonna immediately start a new spin dash. And here you wanna, if you just hold to the right, you're gonna hit the spring and you're gonna launch up, but you wanna go down. So what you do is around here, shortly before the end of the tunnel, you wanna do a jump, and that's gonna cause you to hit the top of the tunnel, and then you bounce down. So that's like this, and you go down here. Ideally, you go kinda under the sky. If your jump out of the tunnel comes super late, you might hit this guy higher up and you bounce up, which is a small time loss because then you bounce directly into the side here and you have to set up a spin dash jump again. But if you go under him like this, you just keep rolling, and as soon as you reach this, you once again do a full jump. Boop. And here you just hold right until you make it to the top and you start a spin dash. Now here on this thing, sometimes you go off this ledge in ball form. I find you can avoid that by holding upright. That makes it somewhat consistent, but sometimes it still happens. If you like this, I lose my ball form, and that puts me right on top of the spring here, which is what you want. If you stay in ball form here and just roll down here, you end up a little lower, and you land under the spring, and you have to manually jump on the spring, which loses a second. So yeah, just hold up right here, and then you land on this. Just keep holding right up these stairs. Start a spin dash, keep holding right. And now we get the first crucial field of bouncy balls, but this is also very easy to deal with. So as soon as you're like on top of this loop, just let go of all inputs. Just drop down. And you see here, I'm not pressing anything the entire time. I get this bounce, then I get this bounce. And as I go up here, I start holding up right. And once I pass these two, this diagonal, I start a flight. And that puts me perfectly onto the spring. So you can see again. Neutral, 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 upright, flight. As soon as you hit the spring, you want to release directions once again. And then repress upright once you hit this spring. And that's gonna make you go over this spring, and you land immediately here. Sometimes you hit this spring and you get bounced one more time, which is fine. But if you do that, make sure to go back here and then just run through this thing. This thing is a booster, and you don't want to spin dash through this. So you just want to hold right here, or hold upright to avoid rolling even. And this booster is going to give you a lot of momentum. So you just hold right, go really fast, just hold right. And as soon as you go through this loop, you see me hold left here. And as soon as you hit the left side wall, you hold right again. And that causes you to curve nicely around this bouncy ball and around the spring here, and you land here on the ground. There is an IL strat here where you bounce on the spring and then use this field of bouncy balls that is up here to bounce yourself higher. But that is incredibly precise to do, and I don't recommend doing it in runs. So the way to consistently get through here with a nice solid time is by just hold left, hold right, boom, you land here. So just keep holding right, you fall into the swamp, and then you just jump up the platform. Yeah, once I'm past this field of moss, I can do a full jump. And can make it on top, and then you're at the end of the level. Boop. MJ2 is once again a really movement-heavy stage, so this is where you can really nail down your movement skills for this game by grinding this level a lot. First thing you want to do is just do a spin dash jump to the right. You're going to hit this. Bounce, bounce, and then the third bounce is a red spring. Once you hit that, you want to hold left. And then once you're about halfway, like once you're about to reach the peak of the jump, you can roll in the air. That reduces air time a little bit. Don't do it too early, because then you don't make it up here. But once you're like at the peak, you can roll. And once you hit this, you want to hold right. And once again, immediately roll in the air to reduce air time. It's going to land you up here. So you start a spin dash right here. You just hold right. You go off this ledge, and you're going to hit the spring. From here on, you want to hold upright. And as soon as you hit this, you want to press and hold the jump button. And that's going to cause you to gain a lot of height. And once you're almost at the top of the screen, you start a flight, which is going to bounce you nicely back down, and you land perfectly in front of this log. Sometimes if you get a bit of a wrong bounce here, you land on top of the log, which is also fine, but you're going to have to manually stop yourself and start a new spin dash. Like this, you land perfectly in front, already still on the spot, and you can just start a new spin dash right away. Once you're out of this log, immediately do a full jump. And then ideally you land between the booster and the spikes. Once you hit this, you want to do a very short jump, though that's not really important. That's like mostly an optimization thing, so you don't have to do that. Small hop here, and the jump is just to make you drop down this chute faster here. So you just hold down here. As soon as the slope here in the ceiling stops, basically, like once you're below the flat part of the ceiling here, you want to do a very short jump. And because 45-degree slopes act weird in this game, as soon as you jump, you basically lose your momentum from rolling down here. So you have a very manageable amount of speed, and you can just nicely jump down, and ideally you want to hit the right side of this bouncy ball. So I'm going to show you in motion. Boop. And it's going to give you a lot of momentum. Sometimes, a lot of times actually, this jump gets dropped here and you hit the spring. If that happens, you get launched up here. When you go up here, just hold right. Wait until it stops bouncing and it drops you back down. If you just keep holding right when you bounce up here, you're going to drop down eventually here and then move here and you hit the right side of this bouncy ball as well and you keep going in this direction. But ideally you do like this tiny jump here, maneuver to the right side of this bouncy ball, and then you just get bounced to the right. You're going to roll through the mud here for a short moment, but immediately jump and you try to manage your speed and try to stop on this platform. This is a bit tricky right here, so it might need some practice. And once you're on here, you want to be careful to not be too far to the left here, because this might cancel your jump, I think. Ideally, maybe around this bright yellow part here in the middle, but you also don't want to be too far on the right, because the closer you are to the ledge when you do a spin dash jump, the less time you have to get the jump input in. So you ideally want to be somewhere here. I think that makes it the easiest. But yeah, just do a short spin dash and immediately jump after releasing. Also, you don't want to do it too early, because obviously the platform moves up, and if you do it too early, you don't have enough height. But you can do it at about this line here, I think. If you wait until you have this height, you should be safe. And yeah, you make it up to this spring right here. If you are unsure about the height, you can, I do this actually here a little bit. Once I go in the air, I hold left a little bit, which is gonna kill a little bit of my speed and allows me more time to gain height from the jump to make sure I make it up here. Just like that. And now you hit the spring, and what you want to do is you want to kill this enemy and land on this moving elevator platform kind of thing. So I like to just start, you see me here, here's my input here to start my roll. And that's gonna kill this enemy and put me on top of the platform. Depending on how you did the previous section, how exactly you land on the spring, the enemy might be on a different position in the cycle as it moves up and down. So you might have to adjust your timing a little bit. But most of the time, this works. Just like here, shortly before you reach the end of this thing, you want to just roll, and usually that works. Now, here, this section is a bit tricky. You can jump pretty early here, so I jump pretty much right away here. Pretty much anything works as long as you're not all the way at the bottom of this thing, so jumping from here is fine. But basically what you want to do is you want to land on this part right here, which has the yellow spring. And that's going to bounce you. And as you go over here, this is pretty important. As you're about halfway between this spring and this item box with the spring inside, you want to again roll. You want to press the jump button. So you see me here, I bounce, I hold to the right, and only about halfway, like this is a bit earlier than halfway, but don't do it immediately, but like wait until you're about like a little bit into this jump. You want to roll. And this is a good setup to make sure you get a good bounce from this thing, because if you don't do the setup, you get like really weird random bounces sometimes, and you're not guaranteed to make it up. But if you do this, you're gonna hit this spring and you get a nice high bounce. And once you're at the peak of this jump, you just do a full jump immediately off of this. And this is gonna land you perfectly in this tunnel. Sometimes when you bounce on here, you kind of hit this corner here, and when that happens, the setup is ruined. If that happens, you kind of just want to stand here and then just do a nice full jump onto the spring, and then it usually bounces you high enough, but not always. So if you hit this, you're in a bit of trouble, but sometimes you can save it by just standing here and then just jumping from there. If you don't make it up or fall back down, you're just gonna have to continue on the bottom route of the level. Or there is a little loop clip you can do as a backup. I'm gonna link that in the video description. I have a clip of that as well that you can do. But most of the time, if you do the setup correctly, you should land up in here in the tunnel. So you make a nice shortcut here. Now, once again, this is a tunnel and ceiling jumps speed you up. So you wanna do a ceiling jump here. And also the ceiling jump ensures that once you come out of this tunnel, you are able to start a flight. If you don't do a ceiling jump here, you are not able to fly here. But also, you don't want to do the jump like right at the end so that you hit the ceiling and then go straight down, because then you also can't do a flight. So basically what you want to do is you do one jump in this tunnel, make sure that you land before going out of the tunnel, and then you can start a flight. You don't want to start the flight immediately, you want to drop down a little bit, because that gives you the correct trajectory to land over here to hit the spring. If you sometimes you miss the spring and you land like there's a little platform here, you can just go up and spin dash to the right, that's fine. But ideally you hit the spring, and then once you're in the air, you once again roll. This gives you a bit more momentum, because sometimes the spring like really eats your speed. And then if everything goes perfectly, you land perfectly on the signpost. Okay, now we're in the next boss stage. This one's a complete pushover once again. Just spin dash to the right. Just roll, roll, roll. As soon as you land in here, just spin dash to the left. And there's a pretty straightforward way of avoiding these bouncy balls as much as possible. So soon, I'm going to show this slowly. So if you go down here and just don't hold anything, you're gonna hit the spring, you're gonna hit this, you bounce back on the spring, and then the spring sends you in the middle here. And as soon as you go over here, you can press the jump button in the air to go into ball form, which allows you a lot of air control. And you can use that to stop your momentum, basically. And you try to stop your momentum before hitting this, so that you just drop straight down here, avoid all the bouncy balls, and just land here. Looks like this in motion, boop boop, and like that. Now once you here, you just spin dash off, start a flight, ideally, and you make it to the boss. So first of all, you want to line yourself up under this guy, and you just hold the spin dash, and that's all you have to do. Once he explodes, you release the spin dash and you go to the left side of the screen. Make sure you're facing to the right. And as soon as you see something explode over you, which is immediately after these kind of things here disappear, then something shows up above you, and then you just do a spin dash to the right, and you just release and you go to the right side of the screen. Then you're gonna have 4 fires here that happen here. There's one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have one above you again, and then you spin dash to the left. To make it a bit easier for you, you can also just hold the spin dash the entire time you wait here and just release the button the moment you see something above you. But it actually is slightly faster to just stand here and not do anything rather than constantly being in the spin dash animation, because I believe the spin dash animation also adds extra lag, so you can save like half a second to a second by not doing that. So yeah, just wait until something shows up above you. Then you're on the left side again, and once again you have 4 bombs in the middle of the stage. Boom, 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 boom. One's gonna come down right in front of you, and the next one is above you, and then just be ready on the spin dash, and just spin dash to the right, and you're done. That's the boss. Alright, Robotnik Winter 1. This is a very short stage, and it's the easiest one to get a tied world record in, so that's a fun thing to do when you're learning the game. The best time possible here is 18 seconds. I don't believe 17 is possible, with current knowledge at least. I don't see how. Best I seem to be able to do if everything goes perfectly is like 18.3, and I don't really see any way to speed this up anymore. So if you get an 18 second here, you get tied world record, and that's the easiest one to get in this game, so yeah, give it a shot. So again, once you start, you spin dash to the right, you hit this thing. This is once again the flight upgrade. same as in GT2. So gonna skip a nice chunk of the stage. So just fly to the top of the screen. You're gonna go past this mountain, and then once you in the second mountain here, you just start going down. And just hold down right as soon as you land on here. And there's a spring here. And as soon as you hit this, you want to press the jump button to go into ball form. And then you just mash the button so that at the top of your jump you get into your flight. And that's going to get you onto this mountain, which skips most of the stage already, which is wonderful. This is one of the most annoying sections to do as Sonic, so be glad you don't have to do the tails. Once you land here, just do a jump immediately, again trying to avoid as much of these dropping ice blocks here from the bridge that crumbles because extra lag. So just jump immediately to avoid these. And there's a couple different things you can do here. So the strat that I found is the most reliable here is to roll into here. Do one jump again into the ceiling somewhere at the beginning of this tunnel. Land in the tunnel, and as soon as I go out of the tunnel, I'm in this form and I can start a flight, and I just keep going. Sometimes though, because there's a lot going on here and you have these blocks breaking and particles and everything, sometimes it likes to eat your jump input. So a way to do this safer is to stop in front of this tunnel and to just start a spin dash and just spin dash straight through. And then as soon as you go out here on the side, start a flight. So that's the safe way, but the slightly unsafe way is to just roll through here and do one jump. The super unsafe way is to do two jumps here and do a second jump from here so that you hit the top of the ceiling and you bounce immediately over here and land perfectly here with a lot of speed, but that's kind of hard to do in a single segment run setting, but that's how you're gonna get the 18 seconds pretty comfortably, if you get that. But yeah, I recommend for runs doing the flight strat here. And you're gonna most likely hit this wall here and start a new spin dash. Sometimes, depending on when exactly you start the flight, you go immediately through the ice blocks, which is also fine. So just roll through here or spin dash through here. And as soon as you over here, you just start a new jump. This is a really dangerous one to get your input drop, because then you get caught in the snow right here and you can't properly jump out of with momentum here and you're at risk of falling down a level. So make sure you try to get this jump, and if you don't, be prepared to jump out of the snow. So yeah, just jump through here. You're gonna break through the ice. And just make sure you go anywhere through here with an optimal jump that is like not a complete full jump. You're gonna fall down here and just go underneath the ceiling. If you go full jump, you just smack into the wall and fall down and start a new spin dash. That's also fine. And then ideally, you can just hold right and you go down the slope, which is fine. But the slope slows you down a little bit. So to avoid that, you can once again hit the top of the ceiling here like this. And you want to hold down a little, you want to hold right a little bit to make sure you don't overshoot the goal. But yeah, that's the goal right here. 19 just barely missed the 18, but you can get an 18 with run strats here as well, if everything goes well. This is a weird one, though, to get the lineup for avoiding the troll sign. So here I just take it kind of risky and it works out. But this is one where the troll sign can really screw you over because you tend to overshoot this a little bit, and then it's hard to get a correct lineup. Alright, so Robotnik Winter 2, this is the level that is the closest to having a make or break level skip in this game. If your PB gets a bit tight, this is where a lot of runs are gonna die, unfortunately. Everyone's gonna need a run killer, and this is this game's run killer. But yeah, if you have a cushy PB with a lot of room for improvement, then you shouldn't really worry too much. So first thing you want to do at the start is once again just spin dash to the right. You're going to go up a slope here, and immediately you want to stop yourself on top of this bridge. And then once you're stopped, you want to hold up and press the jump button to initiate a flight, and you just fly up, just straight up. Notable in this game, you don't have to mash the A button to fly up, which is really nice, so you just hold up once the flight is initiated. Then you land on this platform, jump to the right on this, jump over this thing. You don't want to collect this because it's actually a bit slower to grab this, surprisingly, but you want to jump over this, spin dash to the right, and just wait until you hit the spring right here. After hitting the spring, once again, you immediately press B to roll. And the way to do this next section optimally is to look at the jump trajectory here. And as soon as you see tails dip about halfway, I do it a bit early here, but as soon as he dips halfway into these coins, you start the fly. I was too early here, so I land on the mountain about here. I manually press left to stop myself and start a new spin dash. If you, as I just said, if you wait probably like a couple frames longer until he's about here, you land a little bit lower in a different angle on the slope, and you are immediately stopped, and you can immediately, without wasting any time of stopping and slowing down manually, you can immediately start a new spin dash, which is very useful. But either way, once you here start a new spin dash, and then go into this line of rings, and once you hit 2, maybe 3 rings, then you do a full jump. That's gonna put you over the spring and right on this block. As soon as you land on here, you want to do another full jump. And that's going to put you right over this thing. So what you're going to want to do here is you have to maneuver in the air, off screen most of the time, and land right in this ice tunnel right here. And I get it perfectly right here. So what I do is you can look at my inputs. I'm going to let it play out in motion. So this whole section running up to this is pretty straightforward. Just do like a jump here, a full jump, and as soon as you land, do another full jump. So that part is easy. Boom, boom. But as soon as I hit this monitor here, I hold left for like half a second, and that slows me down just enough to make it into this tunnel. And in the tunnel. Unfortunately, this is pretty precise, and unfortunately, I don't think it's 100% consistent, because mid-air momentum is sometimes a little bit unpredictable in this game. Sometimes you lose more than you expect, and sometimes you gain more than you expect. So a lot of times this one just screws you over. A safer way to do this is to jump up here, and once you're about here, you hold left and just kill all your momentum above this thing here and land on top of this mountain. Then from here on, you start a spin dash. You spin dash to the right. You're gonna drop down, and as soon as you're about here, you start a flight, and that's gonna land you nicely in here as well. That is much more consistent because you get more predictable momentum, and you also get a more flat angle to hit this. So it makes it a bit easier to land in here. But yeah, if you want to go all in, you just can do the setup list like this. Probably going to take a bit of time to learn to get comfortable with. But yeah, there's unfortunately no way around that. There's no better route for this, or no easier route for this level. You're going to have to get through this in one way or another. So I would recommend trying to land on top of this mountain, spin dashing off, and then at about this height right here, start a flight. That's the easiest way to do it. If you miss it, you drop down here, and down there is a spring that sends you back to the left, and you just jump back up, and you can basically just go back onto this block and spin dash jump from here and get back on the mountain and just try again. So you can try this, retry this as much as you want. In that regard, it's not too scary. It's just like every retry loses like 5-6 seconds or so. So if you're low on time, this can very easily kill your run. So once you're in here, ideally, you want to, again, get a jump into the ceiling out of this here, which keeps you a lot of momentum and allows you to stay in ball form to and has a lot of momentum to go around this loop-to-loop here. If you do the flight strat that I recommended to make it easier, and you just go straight through here without touching the floor at all, you're just going to stay in flight mode into this loop, and you're not going to be able to get around the loop. So you have to go out of the loop again and set up in front of it and start a new spin dash. So that is a bit of a time loss. So ideally, you either want to just roll through the sea and just jump out of this, or can also just stop in here and just start a new spin dash to make sure you get momentum to get around this loop. Once you're out of the loop, you want to do a short tap jump. You go down here, you want to do a jump to avoid the spring here, because if you go straight off the sledge, you hit the spring. You want to go in between here, avoid all the springs, drop down, do a spin dash, break through the blocks. Once you're like halfway through this thing, you can start mashing jump. This is a really annoying one for your input to get eaten, so just mash jump here to make sure you make it over this spring. And this part right here is a bit weird. If you hit the top of this tunnel, it's gonna put you immediately back on the ground. And you usually end up in... You see these columns in the background. This is the first, 2, 3, 4, I think the fifth. No, the fourth column. If you end up in the fourth column, you're pretty safe. If you end up in the third one, that's unfortunate. You're gonna have to be prepared to kill an enemy on the platform above you. But most of the time you land in the fourth one, which is what you want. You basically just go up here, and this is the enemy I was speaking of. If you go in the third column, if you go up here, be prepared for this platform and just roll shortly before hitting this, so you kill this one and land on the platform. However, ideally you go next to him in the fourth column, and here you just go straight up. And as soon as you there's a little trick you can do here. Bit of a glitch, the first small glitch we have in this run, really. It's like a trick, you either get it or you don't, and if you don't, you move on. It's like no big deal. It takes like 4 or 5 seconds. Once you are past this guy, you want to press the A button or the B button. Either way, the jump button, you press and hold the jump button, and you hold upright. And it's a little inconsistent how much height you get out of this, but if you do get a lot of height, and you go up left, once you're here, you start a flight, and then you make it into this corner, and it's gonna zip you straight up here, which is very nice. But it's, again, it's a little inconsistent to get the height. If you don't, you just land down here on the platform, spin dash through the loop, go up the ramp and go back, and then you're here as well. So it's only a small time save, but this is a cool one to know about, to just go for in every run, just on the chance that you get it. And as soon as you, zip up here, or go the way around up here, just spin dash to the right, and you're at the end. Here I got screwed over by the signpost super hard because I was so surprised by what a good Robotnik Winter 2 I got here. So I lost like 3 seconds here at the end, which is annoying. I just released way too early, and yeah, I had a costly time loss here. So Robotnik Winter 3, once again a boss with a bit of a stage beforehand. The stage is a bit of annoying hill climbing, and you have to deal a lot with these 45-degree slopes. These can be very annoying, but there's a way to make them very straightforward, and that is just to hold down right and spin dash. You know, start a spin dash, and then just keep holding down right. And as soon as your spin dash runs out, don't even do anything else, just wait for the spin dash to run out, and then immediately start a new spin dash. And what this holding down right does is it allows you to stop on these slopes. You're not supposed to be able to stop on these 45-degree slopes and start a spin dash, but if you just hold down right and wait for the previous spin dash to run out, you are able to do just that. And like this, you can make it up here very easily. So just repeatedly wait until the spin dash runs out, and as soon as it does, start a new spin dash. Once you're up here and the screen starts locking for the boss arena, I like to mash jump to make sure I'm always in ball form and don't get hit by any of the enemies. Like this. And once this enemy hits me, I do a full jump, and then I immediately go into the boss and take a hit. And this boss is going to be very damage boost heavy. So this is going to be the first damage we take for damage boosting. The full jump I do here, you can also just keep hammering short jumps here until you hit the boss. That also works. But the reason I do a full jump here before hitting the boss is because then I get knocked very high up and I hit the ceiling and I come down quicker. If you do a short jump, you get hit down here and you have a lot longer time in the air until you come back down. So yeah, as you come down, try to, mash jump in the air to make sure you get out of this hurt animation and into ball form, which allows you to control. And then you line yourself up where the ring is going to come down. You wait for the ring, boom. And you are still blinking from taking damage. And you're going to use this to just repeatedly jump into him. So his hitbox is a square here, and you want to make sure you hit the underside of the square. You don't want to hit him from the side, because then you get bounced to the side, and that's really annoying. You want to make sure to hit him hit the bottom of his square hitbox. So make sure you pay attention to that. And then you basically just chain jumps into him, and you just do this repeatedly until he goes down. Sometimes, because a lot is going on, the game likes to drop a lot of inputs here, so sometimes you just stand here glued to the ground, you're mashing the jump button and nothing happens. Unfortunately, that just happens sometimes. But if you do this, if you have good control over, catching your hurt animation, collecting the ring again, and making sure you hit him from the bottom, you can get through here pretty quickly. Also, once you see one of the fires go out, try to hit him in this area, not where the fire is, because there is no hurt box here, so you can hit him without doing additional damage boosting. So if you manage to hit this corner without touching the flame, you can get extra hits in without going through like a slow hit animation with extra lag and such. So just, repeat doing that until he just locks in and moves to the right. There's an alternative strat here, which is a bit faster, but I don't personally like it. And I tend to have better results with this strat right here. But I'm gonna explain the other strat as well here. So you also get hit at the beginning here, but then instead of hitting him here, you go to the right side of the screen and you jump in between here. And this allows you to get caught in between here, which, if that goes perfectly well, is like 2 seconds faster than this strat going perfectly. But I find it a lot harder to set up correctly, and also you lose a little bit of time at the beginning because you have to go all the way to the right side. You can try both strats, of course, but I personally just prefer jumping into him. Yeah, as soon as he locks in and moves to the right, just let yourself get dragged by the left screen border, hold to the right, and then as soon as he stops, you will be able to walk forward away from the screen border. And as soon as he does that, just do a full jump, and you're gonna hit him, and you're gonna bounce back. Now here you locked in controls for a moment, just hold down, and as soon as Tails then goes down, you can start a spin dash and roll off the edge, and you're done here. Okay, Tidal Plant. This is the water level and the longest level as well to play through, but I actually quite enjoy it. By water level standards, this one is really damn fun. And also, this is the only level where it matters if you press A or B. So this starts as any other level, you spin dash to the right, but as soon as you can probably also jump right at the beginning, but I always jump down here on this thing. You're gonna do a nice big jump, but as soon as you, at the peak of your jump, you want to hold left. And that allows you to just dip nicely into the water and just go down. If you go too fast, like if you don't hold left here, you will bounce on the water and you actually go up here and you keep bouncing to the right and you lose a lot of time. If you're unsure about the speed you can have here, it's better to be on the safe side and slow down too much so that you can be sure you go into the water rather than taking it risky and trying to carry more speed. So make sure you dip into the water here, and better slow down more than less. But yeah, once you're in the water, you want to go over to the right here. You drop down here, and once you're here, you spin dash to the left. You want to hold down left. You go all the way down here, and as soon as you land, you can do a jump. Depending on how you hit these stairs here, you might come out here with like different momentum and slightly different positions, so be aware of that. But you should usually land somewhere around here, and then you can jump to the left. Don't try to not hit this. And if you jump to the left, you can land directly in the submarine right here. So this submarine, this is the only part of the game where there's a difference between the A and the B button. Or actually the original Game Gear buttons I think are 1 and 2, but whatever, it's A and B on my display and my controller. So once you have this is gonna be crucial to get through this level quickly. So you want to make sure to not lose this. You want to move to the right immediately and go down here. And here you want to press the A button. And that charges a boost. This is similar to a spin dash, but here actually it matters how long you charge it. So the longer you charge the boost, the faster you go, unlike the spin dash in this game. So that's an important difference. But also, when you see me here, I hold down to go down, but then I release briefly and then repress down and charge a spin dash. So anytime you want to set yourself up for a spin dash, or for a boost. It's not a spin dash. I shouldn't call it a spin dash. Anytime you want to set yourself up for a boost, you should briefly release controls, because that's gonna make it a lot more controllable to make sure you get a clean boost going, and that also the trajectory of your boost is predictable. Because if you hold down and immediately, just while going down, you charge a boost, your boost is going to have like a really strong downwards angle, and that makes it very difficult to control, especially in this situation where you want to go straight. Make sure you briefly release down before you start the boost, and then you just boost to the right, you just hold right. I did release my direction for only a very short time here, so when I boost, I still have a little bit of a downward angle. But if you want to take it more safe, you can release longer to make sure your boost just goes straight to the right. But yeah, I just go to the right and I try to just hit the ceiling to line myself up with the ceiling, because this is a perfect height. And there's this eel right here, like this guy. This one's unfortunately kind of a luck-based run killer, more or less. If you want to take it safe, of course, you can go slow and just maneuver around him or something. Or also use the B button to shoot bullets at him. That also works, but all of this is really slow. And if you want to have any semblance of being fast, you're just gonna have to risk taking a hit here. In this case, I got lucky. Actually, most of the time you get lucky. It's like the outlier when you do get hit by this guy. But sometimes he's just in a position and part of his movement cycle where he does hit you, and then you lose the Sea Fox. And if that happens, your run is pretty much dead. Have to take a death to replay the level from the start. There's unfortunately not really much you can do unless you just go really slow around. But yeah, if you want to just go fast, you just have to take this risk. The risk played out here. Again, it works most of the time, but sometimes, unfortunately, if you take the risk, your run just dies here. Yeah, just go straight here. And again, if you have yourself lined up with the ceiling here, you just go straight into this tunnel. Here you want to go up, charge a new boost, go down. And yeah, once again, you see me do this here as well. Anytime, basically, I try to change my direction radically. So here, from going down to going right up, I briefly release all the directions, and that's gonna allow me to kill any remaining momentum I might have from previous movements. And that makes it a lot easier to control. Anytime you have a sharp turn that you want to do, to just briefly release, and that allows you much better control in around corners. So briefly release here, and then you go right up. Again, briefly release, and charge a spin dash here. Once you release this one, you want to immediately hold down to make sure you go underneath this thing. You just keep going. And you also go underneath here. If you go too far down, this guy might also hit you, but most of the time you go above him. But this is also a bit of a risk here, but it's not nearly as risky as the one at the beginning. And this one's also much easier to avoid if you just want to take it slow, so this one is less of a problem. But you just go down here, break through these blocks, and you just hold upright till you make it up here. And you want to line yourself up with these blocks. Getting the lineup to go through like a 1-block gap is sometimes a bit tricky. I have a good feel for it, so I don't use the visual cue here. But what you can do is, to make this very easy, you see these tiles in the background, these little squares here. If you line the drill of the submarine, just like this point here, if you line that up with this line, the upper line of this square, you're perfectly in the middle of the block, and you can just charge a boost here, and you just break through. Once you're at the end of this tunnel, you can release here. I don't do it here for some reason, but it allows you to go down a little quicker, because otherwise you just go really fast against this here. You lose a bit of time. But the important part is you want to go down. Here again, short release. No, actually not. This is the only exception, actually. You want to go down here, and I keep going down, and then I just start charging the boost. And actually, because here, you actually want the boost to go downwards, because there's like another bit of collision that goes about until here, and that allows you to nicely curve around it. Just release, and then there's this, and you go around this thing. And here, as soon as you are underneath, you can curve back up. You can just hit this, it's fine. Just keep holding upright. This looks maybe a bit scary because there's these things dropping down, but if you just hold upright through this area, you generally never get hit by them. As soon as you make it up here, just charge another boost to the right. This guy is never a problem. I don't think I've ever lost my run to this guy before. I think this is completely harmless. So just go through, boost through the right, break through these blocks, hit this, and then just go straight down into this tunnel, charge a boost, charge a boost. You want to definitely hold down when you come out of this tunnel, because if you don't, you're going to hit this and you're going to lose the Sea Fox. This is, out of all the spots you can lose the Sea Fox in, this is the best one, but you're still going to have to go up with a bubble here and then go into a tunnel above this little island here. So it loses like 10-15 seconds probably still. So if you go down immediately coming out of this here, you go nicely underneath these. And then once you're about here, you can once again release. And this allows you your momentum to slow down a little bit, and you can move up a little, maybe a bit smoother than I did it here. I had a lot of momentum here, dang. So I just hit this here. If you do hit this, it's no big deal. Just keep going upright. And once you're in front of these blocks, just boost again, break through them, and you just go up here. Here, you want to make sure to get out of this thing, sometimes a bit finicky, just hit the water surface, go all the way to the right, and then just hold right and press the jump button. And ideally, if you don't do a full jump, if you do a full jump, you hit the ceiling here and you fall back down here and you have to do another jump. If you do like a half full jump or something, you can make it under here and you immediately land on top of this. This saves a surprisingly large amount of time. So if you can do that, that's a nice time save. And then you just jump to the end of the level. So Tidal Plant 2 is the one level with the major level skip. This is actually a glitch in the game. This got found very recently, and it saves about 16 seconds, I want to say. And I think it's actually easier than doing the level, so don't be scared of it. But yeah, before we make it there, we have to do a little bit of underwater movement again. The level starts by you dropping straight down into the water. So what you want to do as the level loads in, you want to hold upright. And as soon as you drop into the water, you want to press B, which gives you a bit more mid-air or water control, and you land on this here. If you don't press B, you fall down here and you have to jump back up, which especially underwater is very slow. So yeah, hold upright, press B as soon as you hit the water. And as you land on here, just hold straight right or upright. You definitely don't want to roll off here because that makes the next section pretty awkward. There's a faster way to go through the section than I do here, but this is the way I do it here makes it very easy, so I recommend doing this. So yeah, just hold upright here. Also hold upright here. I just hold right here, but hold upright. This is better. Makes it safer, makes sure you avoid rolling off here. And just keep pushing against this thing. Here I hold upright now. Best hold upright the whole time. And as you, if you fall down a while, after you fall down a while, if you're about to reach the bottom of this, press jump to go into ball form. I'm going to show it again in motion to make sure you get some idea of the timing. Roll, and then you land on this. This is actually not super precise, the timing for this roll here. You just should do it like about a third of the drop before the end, and then you just get a nice amount of momentum that allows you to land on this, walk off, and then just barely make it over these spikes and land on the spring right here. Now once you're about to hit the spring, you don't longer want to hold right, because then you're going to hit these spikes, which you don't want. So you want to go straight up. You can once again hold right and press A in the air to adjust your trajectory a little bit and land in the Sea Fox right here. Once you have this, just go to the right, go back down, go underneath this dropping spiky ball, go down, and here you want to go into this thing. Now here I slightly mistime it. You can go just directly from going down. If you charge your boost about here, just slightly above this thing, because you got to remember, if you go down and then immediately start the boost, your boost is angled downwards. So you have to line yourself up slightly above the tip of the drillers right here, which would be about here. So you have to line yourself up on this side roughly to make it in here. But it's pretty risky because you have the spike ball falling from the top here. So if you don't make it in and get stuck here, the spike ball is going to hit you and you're going to lose the Sea Fox, which is once again basically a run death. So I would recommend to just go down here, line yourself up in this area, wait until the spike comes past you, and then go in here. Just take all the time in the world you need to line yourself up. However, you can go for this quick setup here. I do it too late here. So I should have done it like here, but I do it here, which is pretty much exactly on the middle, but because I come down, so my boost is going to be angled downwards, I'm not going to make it in here. When you try this, make sure you only charge for a very small amount of time and are immediately prepared to hold left when you don't get it, because then you can make it out of here without the spike ball hitting you, which is exactly what happens here. I miss it and just a small boost and I make it out. But if you boost for too long, you can get stuck on the wall without being able to move away, and then the spike ball hits you. So if you go for this, make sure you only do a small boost to make sure to be able to save yourself. Regardless, if you wait for the spike ball or you dodge it like this as a backup, you line yourself up here on the left. Again, now you can, because you're motionless, you can line yourself up again with the top of these squares, and you can go into here. Now here you just go down, go around this thing, go up, go up, go up. Go to the left. Now here, first of all, there's the spike ball. Make sure you don't line yourself up underneath this thing to start a boost. Line yourself up to the left of it to make sure it doesn't activate. And now, yeah, boost to the right. And you want to purposely here lose your Sea Fox. This is where we're going to set up the level skip. And this was found by Mills Tales Prower, so thanks to them. You want to hit the top of these spikes. Usually you get bounced to the left here. Sometimes you get just bounced straight up. Whatever happens is fine. If you get bounced to the left, just immediately start a spin dash jump to the right and land up here. From here on, you do a full, nice big full jump up to this platform, and then you jump up here, land up here. So what you want to do here, this is a bit of a camera trick. This glitch is initiated by the camera. So you want to stand here and you pan the camera up. Hold up until the camera doesn't move up anymore. Then once you have the camera in this position, release and just quickly charge a spin dash and release immediately. So that Tails spin dashes onto these braking blocks, and because they're halfway off screen, they're gonna glitch out the game once they break. Yeah, with the camera panned up, quickly charge a spin dash. The spin dash needs to be pretty quick, so don't take too long doing these inputs. And to make it a bit more consistent, after releasing the spin dash, you can go back to holding up. So I do it like this, up, spin dash, and up. And it's going to look like this. Blocks are going to break, and Tails is going to fall down. So once he falls, you just wait for a moment. He's going to go through this floor. I'm not pressing anything, just wait. And wait until he hits these sets of spikes. Once he hits these, jump button, and hold to the right. So he's gonna roll, and if you hold it right here, this is a good setup to make sure you make it to the end. Just keep holding right, and if you keep holding right through this whole thing, you're gonna end up here, which is the end of the level. So I'm gonna show you again. Camera pan, spin dash, up and neutral, 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 neutral. Roll and right, roll and right, roll and right, roll and right. And then you're gonna end up here. There is a strat here to make this a bit faster. So if you stop holding right about here, I think, shortly before hitting this. So if you hold right like halfway through this bit of collision, if you go neutral stick here, you can hit these spikes more on the left side, and you just immediately fall down here, which is a lot faster, but also it's risky because then you have a higher chance of soft locking or missing the level end entirely and dying. So if you just keep holding right, you're pretty safe to make it to the end. But if you want to take the risk and save a couple extra seconds, you can release the right about halfway through here, and then you can basically fall down directly here. So what you want to do here is you want to start a spin dash, and you want to wait until this thing drops down, because if you just release it immediately, you're just going to lose your invincibility right when you're about to hit this, and then hit it, and then you die, which is bad. So wait until this thing goes off screen, and then you release, you drop down, and then by this time it's already exploded, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. Once you're down here, spin dash, do the jump at about here. You don't want to do it too early. You don't want to do it too late. So jump at about on the second breaking block here, and that's gonna get you nicely up the stairs here. And just spin dash into the goalpost. Don't do the jump into the goalpost here because you're in underwater, and the jump is just a lot slower here, so just wait until you see the goalpost on screen and you can spin dash into it. Make extra sure you're prepared here for the troll sign, because your air can run out after hitting the sign and then you drown. But yeah, that was Tidal Plant Act 2, that was the major level skip of the game. And we are almost in the final zone. But first we have to shoot Knuckles in the face, which is Tidal Plant Act 3. So you're starting immediately in the submarine. So just start a boost right away and hold down to collect these rings. I got a bit unlucky here, so unfortunately I go straight through the rings without collecting them, which is fun. Usually you should be able to collect them. If you don't, it's no big deal, but there's a strat at the end of this boss that makes it slightly faster. It requires you to be able to have rings and be able to get hit. Unfortunately here I did not get them for whatever reason, but try to get them, and yeah. Basically just line yourself up in this general area on the left side of the screen and just spam the B button and just shoot Knuckles in the face. That's literally all you have to do here. That's it. He's going off screen here for a bubble to appear, and once the bubble is halfway up, you continue shooting again. Now, if I were to have rings, what I could have done here, once he drops this rocket here, I could have moved down and try to get hit by the rocket. And that destroys the submarine. And then if I only have like 1 or 2 hits remaining, and if I get those without the submarine, and then have the end of the boss without the submarine, the screen fade out is a bit quicker, so that saves like a second or two. But in this case, I didn't have rings, so I just stay up here and just keep shooting him in the face. Also, sometimes when you try to get hit by this thing, it just doesn't hurt you. I genuinely do not understand how attack hitboxes in this game work. I have no clue how to make this work consistently. But if you want to risk it a little bit here at the end to save like 2 seconds, you can try to get hit by this missile and make sure you get the last hit as just without the submarine. But yeah, here I just keep shooting and he explodes, so this is super easy. Don't have to really do anything, just shoot. That's it. Alright, Atomic Destroyer, this is the final zone in this game. This is mostly a pipe maze, but there's a couple of intricate bits of movements and tricks in here. So, again, you spin dash to the right, and there's like a field of blocks here that you break through, and you want to land on the spring. Obviously, ideally, you land immediately on this, because here I go a bit higher, and then it takes a bit of time to drop down. However, these blocks make this whole process so random that it's kind of impossible to consistently get a perfect jump here, so I just resorted to just spin dash to the right and then just jump whenever. And the outcome is gonna be random regardless, so just whatever happens, happens. So yeah, you hit the spring, you go up, go into the tube, go up here, go to the right, and as you come down here, you want to hold right. Just don't do anything except for holding right. Just hold right here, and and it's gonna bounce you through this item box onto the spring and into the next tube. Just hold right through this thing. boop, boop, boop. And here you want to hold left to go to the left. That's going to send you around here. Hold right. Going to bounce up here onto this button. So these buttons always make little enemies appear out of these. If you jump immediately, you can just jump under this guy. If you do a high jump, you hit him from below and bounce back down, so you can do that as well. This one's not super dangerous, just be aware that they exist. Jump up here onto this button, which lets the laser come down here. Just wait for it. And from here you want to start a spin dash jump. And ideally, this is a pretty small platform to get a jump input off, so a lot of times it fails to when you try to do that. And I think it did here as well, which is fine. Ideally, but yeah, you want to ideally spin dash jump off here to make it over here. If you don't, just keep moving. You know, just basically just drop down here. There's nothing really dangerous here, because even if you miss this thing, you're gonna either hit this wall, or you're gonna hit like this bit of platform on the item box, and you can go down here anyways. So just drop down here somewhere to go into this tube, and then be ready to press down once you reach these crossroads. Go down, just keep holding down. You're gonna land on this button and wait for these guys to bounce up and start a spin dash. As soon as they're basically up in the air, just boop, spin dash. And jump over these stairs here. If you want to be safe, there's a checkpoint here, you can hit this, but you don't have to. You shouldn't die here ideally. So the safest strat I found is to try to land on this platform here, and as soon as you land, you set yourself up for a spin dash and you go off this ledge and start a flight. You gotta be a bit quick though before that moving platform gets too close to you, because that can cancel your flight and then you might fall into the death pit here and die. That is gonna get you over here. You're gonna fly over this thing and you're gonna land somewhere here. So ideally you want to land on top of this thing, but it might happen, it's very likely going to happen that you hit the spring, which is going to bounce you to the left. And you might get caught between these two springs here and bounce back and forth. The most important thing to remember is when you're in this situation, whatever you do, just don't panic. Just take a moment, just a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Just make sure you are aware of your situation, and then make sure you properly time the jump out of this when you're going to the right. Just don't panic and just mash jump to get out of it as soon as possible. You're much better off just waiting a moment and looking at your situation to make sure you time the jump out of this correctly. Because if you just panic and just mash jump, what's going to happen is you're going to hit this spring, you panic, you mash jump, you go back here all the way, and between these spikes, there's a bottomless pit here, and you die. And I guarantee you that happens more often than you might think. So just take a moment here when you get caught on these springs and just relax. It's all good. Nothing can hurt you in between these springs. Just wait until you're going to the right and then jump out of it. So here actually, though, I made it over the spring, which is really nice. However, ideally you want to jump off like either the end of the platform or even jump off the spring itself. That's going to get you up here. But unfortunately, what I did here, I was slightly late with my jump, so I hit this spring right here and I got briefly stuck in between these two springs. But here again, just bounce, I reacted really quickly here, just got one extra bounce and made sure to only jump when I'm going to the right where I want to go. Just waiting for hitting this spring and immediately jump. Again, give yourself more time here. Bounce 2, 3, 4 times if you have to. It's fine. Better than dying. And just wait until you bounce to the right and then just jump out of it immediately. Break through these blocks. Bit slow here because I don't quite make it up immediately, but you know, it's these blocks are kind of hard to deal with. Yeah, go into this pipe. Once you come out of here, jump back immediately. And then you're going to come here. And once you come out of this pipe, you hold left, which is going to land you here. And it'll allow you to do a full jump up here. Right here. And you make it here. So I'm going to show you in motion. Boop. Bounce, bounce. Into the tube. Don't do anything here. Jump back in. Hold left. Full jump back up. And yeah, set yourself up here or there, depending on where you land after the jump. And just hold up and initiate a flight. Just fly straight up into this tube. Go down, go right, and you're at the end. Alright, Atomic Destroyer 2. At the beginning, just spin dash into these elevators. Spin dash to the right here, turn around, walk off to the left, spin dash to the right, and fly into the tube. Once you're here in the tube, you want to just, on this cross, you want to go to the left. And now here we have another trick, which is pretty cool. So that's a good one to practice. You're gonna want to go down on the next crossing on the pipe, which is right here. Go down. And as you go down, you just keep holding down. And you're gonna land on this switch. And if you keep holding down, if you hold down immediately when you land, you can quickly, before this guy comes down, start a spin dash and spin dash underneath him. If this is a bit sketchy for you, you can also just take a bit longer for the spin dash and just wait until he comes past. But if you just come out of this tube holding down, you should be pretty consistently able to immediately charge a spin dash and go down here. Now, once you go off here, you want to start a flight. And for this trick to work, it's pretty important that it's not super precise. There's a decently large window, but don't do this flight as early as possible. Like, don't start the flight here or something. Start the flight somewhere like in the second half of this distance, like somewhere in this range. So I'd start the fly roughly at this green dotted line. But again, it's not super precise. You don't have to do it like on the last pixel before hitting this. But you also shouldn't do it like here. This is probably not going to work. But if you do it like here, I do it here. And I just keep holding right with the flight. And what this is going to do is I will approach this elevator here, just the top of this elevator with a lot of speed. And this is going to cause me to clip a little bit into the top of this elevator, which is going to damage me for reasons that I don't understand. And the damage is going to cause Tails to just fall down the elevator shaft and skip the animation of slowly going down the elevator. So this is not a very risky thing to go for, so just give it a shot. However, if you fall down this elevator like this, you're going to have to be ready on the timing as soon as you land at the bottom to spin dash out of it. Because if you don't immediately spin dash out, you will go back up the elevator, and then you also lose a couple of seconds. So I'm going to show you again in movement. Like this, and immediately spin dash. And here, there's a lot of spikes here. It might look scary, but since you just did the damage boost strat, you're still blinking, you're still invincible, so you don't have to be scared of these spikes. You just go over them, and you just drop down into this hole with a spring inside. Once you're at the peak of your jump, you roll and start a flight, which gets you immediately up here. You go through this booster, and as soon as you're on the slope, you jump over this button, curve around, and land in this hole. This is nicely lined up here with the green dotted line, so very easy to find this hole. As you come out of this, you want to hold left. There's actually a couple different strats to do this. The way I like to do it is hold left coming out of here, and as soon as I hit these blocks, these breaking blocks that bounce you back up, as soon as I hit these, I stop holding left. Just briefly, and as I'm at the peak of the jump, I hold left again, so it allows me to nicely go underneath the ceiling here and just drop straight down in between here. Another variant of doing this is to hold right coming out of here, I think, and then just hold full left once you hit it. But it always works nicely for me if I just hold left, briefly release, and hold left again. Yeah, just here again you have a situation with two springs. So if you get caught in between here, don't panic, just wait for the right moment and then press so you jump out to the left. But ideally, you can just jump out immediately. You break through these blocks. Just wait until they're all destroyed. Just drop down here to the pipe. You want to go to the right on this crossing. And then you're going to hit this thing right here. You're going to drop straight down. And here, take a little bit of time. You want to do a spin dash jump to the right off of this. This is one block, and it's easy to miss the jump input on a one block spin dash jump. Don't rush this one. Just spin dash jump off here, and you're gonna land in this thing. Gonna land in this thing, and here you just want to go up. And it's gonna send you to the end of the level. If you miss this jump, usually it's no big deal. You're gonna end up over here, and you can just platform back up, and then you basically land over here on the left side, and then you can platform back up and land on this thing anyways. So not massively risky, but if you don't want to risk losing 5 seconds at the end of the run, this is a really tight and scary jump. But yeah, you land in here, go up, go to the right, and that's the end of the level. So Atomic Destroyer 3 is a bit of an annoying boss rush. This one takes quite a while. This is by far the longest split. So here, just spin dash to the right. There's a lot of rings here, but it really doesn't matter if you have 100 rings or 1 ring. So the optimal way to do this is to just jump at the very end of this line of rings to get like the last couple here. Just do a jump here at the end. Gonna make you nicely up here. Jump, 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 hit the boost, and roll through the item box. Get chased Sonic.exe style by Metal Sonic. Just keep holding right through this, or don't hold anything. This is basically the cutscene, doesn't matter. And now you're gonna get into the boss arena with Metal Sonic. So first thing he's gonna do is go left, right. As soon as he starts moving here, you can jump into him to hit him. And then as he comes back, hit him again. Hit him again. Hit him again, get 4 hits like this. These hits are really easy. You need to have a very rough idea of the timing, but again, basically all you do is jump, and in ball form, every side of yours does damage to him, so it's really easy to get these hits. But after 4 hits, he goes into his attack phase where he sweeps left to right 6 times. The timing of this is a bit slower, like the sweeps delay a little longer than the other phase, so be aware of that. But again, if you get hit here, you can just recollect the ring. It really doesn't do anything. It's a very straightforward boss. And then you just do the 4 hits again. Boop, 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 boop. And that's it, 4 hits. Then he does 6 sweeps again. Yeah, I mistimed here, but you can just recollect. There's not really any risk on this boss at all. And now we get our final 4 hits. Boop, boop, boop. And now for the final hit, you want to hit him more closely to the right screen border, because that makes him move off screen quicker. Like this. Now here's charge a spin dash and release. I did this a bit late, but ideally if you have the correct timing and release here and then jump shortly before hitting the screen border, you can perfectly land in this thing, which is a teleporter. Unfortunately, it was a bit late here with my timing, so I overshot it, but if you release and then jump into the screen border, if you experiment with that a little, you can very nicely immediately land in this thing. As you go through here, just spin dash to the right. That's a checkpoint, but usually if you need it, you probably already lost enough time that your run is already dead. So unless you're doing like a marathon run or something where you don't want to like waste 5 minutes at the end, you don't really have to care about this, because you want to make sure to do this all first try anyways. But yeah, for marathons or something, I would recommend hitting this. But yeah, just do a full jump over here, go up here, spin dash, do a flight, and you have a cutscene here with Fang. For a little while you can go to the right side of the screen. And this right here, the entrance of the second boss of this level, is where I did the biggest mistake I made this entire run. You're gonna see right away. So yeah, I accidentally hit this guy from the side, which bounced me all the way back. If you want to be safe, just wait until he shows up on screen and then jump on top of him. This kind of got me a little flustered, and I wasted another of his jumps of time, so I lost a lot of time here. I get bounced again. And now wait until he jumps, and after the jump, just jump on top of him. And just once you're on top of him, it's really easy. So just keep bouncing. You don't have to press anything except for adjusting your direction. So the way his movement works is if you're on his left half, he's going to move to the left. And if you're on his right half, he's going to move to the right. So I know here he moved to the left because I was on his left half, which knowing where he goes gives me enough time to adjust once he jumps to make sure I land on top of him again. Now he's going to move to the right. Nice. And that's it. That's all the hits. Now we're going to the next boss arena, the third boss. So this guy, you can just barely reach him with a jump. The important thing is that you don't loiter around under him, because as soon as you are under him and don't move, he's gonna shoot fire at you. So the best way to do this is to just hit him from the side, and immediately as you hit him, you bounce, you hold the opposite direction to make sure you bounce away from him. And basically the trick is to just keep in constant left-right movement throughout the boss arena. Hit him like this, bounce to the left, go to the side of the screen, and wait for a little bit until he's about here or so, and then jump into him, and then get wedged in between the screen border and the boss as he approaches you. Like this, and you bounce off the screen border, and sometimes you can get bounced back and forth between the boss and the screen border a little bit. I'm not actually sure if that gives you extra hits though. I've never really noticed the boss going really faster when I get good screen bounces or anything. I have the suspicion that there's like a bit of a cooldown you can do hits in, but I don't really understand boss health in this game. It's kind of a huge mess. The important thing is that you keep the left-right movement going. So yeah, as soon as he comes back, just jump into him again, bounce to the right, and again screen border, allow yourself to get bounced to the left. And repeat. Here, unfortunately, you get a fire attack. I'm not sure if that's avoidable though, actually. I don't think I've ever had this boss fight without at least a single fire attack, but I've definitely had this boss with more fire attacks. So if you keep nice left-right movement going, you can avoid at least all but one fire attack. So yeah, just keep doing that. Boop. Boop. So this is the last hit. This thing is going to explode, so you want to jump over this. And if you're somewhere in the middle of a stage, you can immediately hit him as he comes down. This is going to cause him to move to the left and then move to the right. During this phase, you don't have to hit him at all. You can just wait on the right side of the screen. And as soon as he stops above you, you want to jump up to hit him. Wait until he comes down and then jump again to avoid this explosion. If you don't avoid this explosion, it's fine. Just recollect your ring. And then just wait until he moves away. And as soon as the screen unlocks, so this part is crucial. We are now in the final boss of the run. And this one is very risky if you want to do it in the fastest way possible. So which I'm going to show you, but I'm also going to tell you how to do it more safe, but slower. But yeah, basically you want to spin dash here. And as soon as the screen unlocks, release the spin dash and jump. And you're gonna fly all the way into this little chamber right here. So you're gonna hit him here, but also get hit. So make sure to jump immediately to get out of the damage animation and get control again and recollect the ring. So recollect the ring, just wait, and he's gonna come back around and hit you again. So now this is the crucial part. After the second hit, don't recollect the ring. Immediately charge a spin dash to the left, and as soon as you go off this little platform here, start a flight. And if you timed it right, it is not as tight as it might look, but it is possible to mistime it. You can either be too slow or too quick even. So make sure to practice this if you're planning to go for this in runs. But it is not as tight as it looks. If you practice it, you can get it most times. But occasionally it's gonna fail, and unfortunately that's most likely gonna kill your run. And what it's gonna do is you're gonna bounce against him and bounce back. And you're gonna get into the chamber before he comes back, and you are able to recollect the ring. And then immediately he's gonna come and hit you again. And you do the same thing again. Boom. Second time, bounce. Second time, bounce. So you do that 3 times. So the way Eggman goes in a cycle around, it slows down. So by now, he's too slow to reliably do this bounce thing. So what you do now is you get one more hit here, and then you recollect the ring. and then you fly over to the left, because then you can stay on the left briefly and hit him here. So again, make sure to recollect the ring, and you go back to the right. And now ideally, as soon as you land here, you want to do a little jump, because then you can hit him like right as he immediately comes into the chamber here. Mash A here on the right side of the screen, recollect the ring, try to get as many jumps as possible to hit him. And if everything goes perfectly, by this moment here, he is dead. Unfortunately, in this run, I didn't get the fastest possible cycle, and I had to switch one more time back to the left to get the last hit. But it is possible to get him there earlier. And yeah, once he does this, once he stops here, that's him being dead. Once you are here, just go back to the right side and just wait here. Don't do any inputs here. If you sometimes when you jump here, you can like get a weird glitch and you glitch out of the boss zone and you die. So just once you're back here and he's coming out of his little machine, just don't press anything anymore. And at this point, the run is done. So I'm gonna look this whole thing in motion again. Jump into the boss arena, get hit once, recollect, get hit twice, spin dash, fly, recollect, spin dash, fly, recollect, spin dash, fly, recollect, get hit, recollect, and then you just slowly go along with him and try to hit him as much as possible. And at least by this point he should be dead. So that's the fast strat. The simplest strat is instead of doing the flight with the bounce thing, you stay on the right side here for four or five laps, and then you start switching back. So you can just ignore the flight strat where you bounce. You can just stay here and just get safe hits in here. And after like he goes around 5 times, you start switching back and forth as well. That is the safe way to do this boss, so you don't have to risk losing your ring and doing the flight strat. There's one thing you need to be careful though when you do the safe strat here though. When he's at the end of his circling here, he stops on the right side. And if during this time you are also on the right side chamber and he stops here, it's gonna bounce you out and you can't get back in, and then your ring is in here and you lose it, and then he fires a bunch of lasers and you're most likely dead. So if you notice he's about to stop in here, just dodge to the left side of the boss arena into the left side chamber, and then just continue doing this on the next cycle when he starts going around again. But yeah, if you don't do the strat where you bounce with a flight, you will only kill him in the second cycle, so you're gonna lose like maybe 10-20 seconds or so, but it's significantly safer to get the run finished. And yeah, that's the run. So once you have defeated Eggman here, there's a little bit of a cutscene which you can see starting basically now. And now you don't have to press anything anymore. You just watch Tails as he kicks Eggman's butt for the last time. The Chaos Emeralds comes out of him, and as soon as the Chaos Emerald is collected, that is time. And now, that's it. Yeah, that is the Sonic Triple Trouble Tails run. I hope that video was helpful, and if you have any more questions, I would be happy to give more guidance if there's anything that was unclear or so. If I notice anything major is missing, I'm gonna add like a pinned comment below and do some clarification or anything, or additions if that is necessary. But I hope this video should have everything covered. And yeah, if you do try to run this game, I wish you the best of luck.